Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I am finally back. If you're listening to this show right now, it's been a while, and I'm going to fill you in on everything that's been happening since June when I stopped doing this podcast and took a long break. If you've been listening to the last couple of episodes before that, May and June, you know that I had a very scary experience happen to me, which set me in a down a rabbit hole of things I wasn't expecting. So if you are listening to this now, thank you so much, first of all, for sticking with me, for listening to this show right now. I have to start there. I have to say that when you need to take a hiatus from a podcast, you often wonder, that it will affect your numbers, right? And the audience. And I want to say thank you so much for coming back. For maybe you this is your first time, or maybe you've been waiting for me to come back, maybe you've been wondering what I've been doing. So I apologize. I If I left you hanging, but I'm back. I finally feel ready to move forward with this show, and I'm going to tell you everything that you've been wanting to know and what is in store for this brand new season of the Make Room Show. As you know, I'm always about evolving, and the show is a reflection many times of what I'm going through personally, what my clients are going through personally. And I use it as a platform to just voice things that I'm thinking about or things I'm curious about. And it's always a journey about making room for what is important to me, what is important to you, the people and the things that matter the most. So I appreciate you and I love you so much for listening to this show today. And, before I even get started, I will say, because I usually forget at the end, but if you have any opinions or questions after I'm done, feel free to contact me either in the reviews or even email. My email is still the same. It's organize@jenniferfordberry.com. Yes, I have not changed that, but so many other things have changed. So I'm going to start out with first an update. I feel like you deserve to hear that. As you know, April 1st, April Fools, I was in a car accident where there was a split moment in time where I thought I was not going to be on this earth anymore. And I thought, that day I thought I was fine and I could get through it, but a lot of things happened to me after that. And most importantly, and you can go back and listen, and I'm not going to go through the story again, but most importantly, I realized that I needed to kind of slow down a little bit, take some time for myself, and really truly focus on self-care. I have always been a person that can go at a high speed, have lots of businesses and projects, and they've always really motivated me. But after that, I don't know what happened. I just couldn't keep going at that pace. I had to take a break for myself. And I have been practicing extreme self care ever since. So I'm excited to share that with you. I'm also excited to share I'm feeling so much better than I was last spring. I have overcome a lot of different things. I've been to more doctors since April 1st than I've been in my whole adult life. And I am happy to say that I've learned a lot. And after that, it got busy. I had intentions of coming back to the show in May. I did briefly. And then my son came back from college. A lot of you know, he goes to college in Florida. We go back and forth between New York and Florida. And once he came home for the summer, I will be honest, and if you are an open nester, you all know I like that word better than empty nester. But if you're in that season of life, um, you know that it's a massive change, massive change. And there's some grieving that goes on. I've talked about that on the show too. And so last year, it just was a lot. To be honest, I'm going to just be very transparent today. It was a lot. It was a lot of emotions. It was a lot of changes. It was a lot of growing. It was a lot of thinking and going introspectively to ask myself, what do I want the rest of my life to look like now that I'm not here with kids needing me every single day? They still need me, but they're not in the house. There's a lot less cooking, a lot less cleaning, a lot less taking care of their needs, a lot less sporting events. And so when May hit, we went down to bring Bryson back from Florida from college. And I think I shared that in one of the last episodes. It was a rough ride home for me for many reasons. And then when he was home, I was like, it's all about him this summer. He played in a really awesome baseball league here in our local area, and it is called the Batavia Muck Dogs. And it's a cool experience. It's something that he's wanted to do since he's a little boy. So my whole summer was really baseball. Um, Lots of self-care, lots of lake time with our friends, and just really focusing on taking good care of myself and taking good care of Bryson. We also had another boy move in with us over the summer that needed a place to stay. So I was loving it. I was loving having kids back in the house, their friends here, just all of that fun excitement of having kids back in the nest. And I needed it and I enjoyed every second of it. And so we got through that. And then August, we left for Florida for 3 weeks. We celebrated Josh's 50th birthday down in Florida. It was a great time. We had so much fun, both between St. Augustine and Largo, where the kids are. And actually, one thing that happened to us that I wasn't expecting is that we ended up purchasing another property in Florida, another investment property, and I will say this, I should probably do a whole episode on this, but we purchased an investment property when our daughter went to college, and it was a great investment for so many reasons because, rent is expensive. And when you have a child in college, you have to pay for them to live once they get out of the dorms. And so we had such a great experience. We decided to do the same thing in St. Augustine for our son, and it was a last minute decision. So just when I was starting to feel better, we decided at the beginning of July to purchase something. So it was a month-long process of just hurry up, find a place that's right for us, work with the realtors. And as you all know, purchasing property can be stressful. So it was a very quick decision, but it worked out great. And we couldn't be happier. And I learned a lot through that process, which I'm going to share with about a topic in the future. So I will get to that, but just kind of giving you the rundown. So we were down in Florida for 3 weeks. We celebrated Josh's 50th birthday. We came back. 2 weeks later, I had my event here in New York, Mother Time Marketplace, that I've done for 18 years, a family consignment event that I host for our local community and to help local charities. And then 1 week off to hurry up and pay all of the consigners. And then I left for the focus retreat in Kentucky that I co-host with Amy Debrick and Lori Beth Aldridge. We had the retreat in Kentucky. It was amazing. And shout out to all the women that attended. Oh, just the most amazing women and the most amazing time with them. It's just so cool when I go to these retreats and these women just show up and they are authentic and vulnerable and awesome and smart, and they cheer each other on, and we have fun and we laugh and we cry and we learn, and it's so amazing. So good. So while I was at the event, Hurricane Helene hit Florida, and I cannot say how much devastation was done to the Gulf Coast of Florida. Really, our area is from Clearwater down to Treasure Island, St. Pete. That's where we are hanging out all the time. And it was devastated. My heart is in pieces for those that lost all of their belongings, all of their homes, their vehicles, some, lost animals. There was lives that were lost. It's truly heartbreaking. And I was at the retreat for that actually the hurricane went all the way up to Kentucky on the last day of our retreat. We actually were late to our own retreat because the fire department had to come and cut up a tree for us to get out of the neighborhood to get to the retreat. It was crazy. But nothing compared to what Florida suffered. And it was truly, they're going to be cleaning up that area for a long time, but we're all very, very positive and hopeful. I mean, Floridians are strong, and the community that we're part of now is so amazing. They are so helpful to each other. They're so kind and loving, and there's lots of organizations helping. And there it's just a really nice reminder of the spirit of humans and how we do stick together in hard times and help each other out. And as many of you know, I can't do this show without mentioning what happened in Asheville, North Carolina as well. It's just absolutely gut wrenching what happened there. We actually lived not far from there for 5 years. So we celebrated our first anniversary in Chimney Rock, in Lake Lure, which has been completely devastated. The entire Asheville area my prayers go out to you because it's awful. And I don't think that you're getting I don't think the media is giving you um, they're not getting the word out as much as they should. Unless you're on social media, I don't see enough help going to Asheville. I don't see enough help going to the Gulf Coast of Florida, to be honest with you. People are helping each other, but I do think there should be a lot more help out there, whether it be from the government or from FEMA. So I have to say that because people don't realize what these people are suffering and what they're going through and how they're still in a state of emergency. And my prayers are going out to you. I've been in touch with a lot of friends in that area that are giving me the details, and it's awful. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And um my kids in our home was safe in Hurricane Helene, and then last week we experienced Hurricane Milton, and that was a scary one. That one was absolutely unbelievably large. We had to evacuate both kids out of the state of Florida. It was so scary as a mom to just feel helpless when they were stuck in traffic for hours and hours. There was limited gas. And I would say last week was, just an absolute horrific week for so many of us that have family and loved ones in Florida. We were actually supposed to be there last week, and luckily or not, I don't know, I kind of wanted to be there with my children, but they were safe with friends and family. They were evacuated. So but we weren't there. And as a mom, I really felt helpless. Honestly, I felt like I couldn't do enough. I have felt helpless for all of Florida in our area. I'm going down in a couple weeks. I can't wait to get down there and help out. But to have your kids in a situation like that was absolutely one of the scariest things ever. I was actually so petrified that, my daughter would run out of gas as she was evacuating because they could barely find more than 30 cents at a time for gas. So it was very, very scary. And what is crazy, if you didn't follow the storm, is that they were anticipating that it would destroy the Tampa Bay area. And lots and lots of people prayed. So many people prayed. And I just kept visualizing just God and an army of angels standing and creating a wall protecting the coast of Florida and pushing that storm away. And to be honest, it's pretty much what happened. When we went to bed Wednesday evening, that eye of the storm that was so big out in the sea was moving towards Florida. It shifted south. So it went south of Tampa, closer to Sarasota, and the eye pretty much dissipated before it hit land. Now, Sarasota, Siesta Key, that whole area, they have suffered loss for sure. And it was awful for what they went through. But this storm ended up not being as monstrous as they had anticipated. And I am so grateful. It took several days for our kids to get back. But I am happy now to say that they are both safe back in our homes and that we did not have any damage to either one of our homes. There's lots of trees down. There was no power at one of them, but everything has been restored. The trees will get cleaned up. Everyone we love is safe. And I could not be more grateful, so grateful to God for that. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing what he can do. And so I am I'm talking about this, just to give you an update, but I'm also wanting to let you know that um I have run this show for 8 years now, and it's gone. And then, it was the 29-minute mom for a long, long time, and then we rebranded to the Make Room show last year. And so I've had lots of different people on here talking about different topics regarding religion and Christianity. And I have to bring that up for the fact that I'm still that person. I still have a immense faith in God. Um, but I've kind of gone full circle to who I used to be. And for the last several years, I don't know. I mean, it's a long story, but I feel like I went from being a very spiritual person to more Christiany, if that's a word, than I feel like now. I haven't been to church as much as I used to go to. Something has shifted in me. And I think what's happened, and I don't know, I'm sure there's going to be so many opinions about this, and that's fine because we're all different. But I want to say this because I feel like if I am experiencing this, so many out there listening are experiencing the exact same thing. I think, especially as women, we're deep down all the same. And I think we go through different trends at different times in history and in life. And there's a lot going on in the world. I mean, there's been a lot going on in my personal life, but there is a lot going on in the world. We have an election coming up. We've had lots of crazy weather patterns. We have constant fear mongering, and we have stories all the time that are meant to scare us, and we have lots of different opinions, and everybody feels divided. There's a line in the sand that has never been there before, and we're all standing on the side that we choose. And I think that, and without getting too political, I think that it's made me question what really is going on out there. And so, with all this stuff going on, I have really been drawn to just my own personal relationship with God. I have never felt like God is in a building, like a one building, and I don't think God cares about religion, to be honest with you. I think there's one God, and I think that one, one there's one and only God. And I think that we don't have to be in different buildings or different religions to access him. I think he actually doesn't want us to be more divided than we already are. So now we have religion dividing us. We have down to, even if you're the same religion, you're divided by the church building you go to or the organization you participate in. Now we have all the political division. It's too much. And so for me, I have found myself, I started to feel like this during COVID, where I would go to church and they would tell me to wear a mask. And I was sitting there thinking, well, first of all, how am I supposed to worship with a mask on? And second of all, aren't we being taught not to fear? So why are we fearing COVID? Like, if they're teaching us the rest of our lives not to fear and not to live in fear, why is there an exception now? Why do we have to have a mask on to prevent us from getting something when we're really not supposed to fear any of it? So I started changing my opinion then. The church that I do go to when I feel called to, I still love, and they weren't a big endorser of the mask. And that's how I found that particular church during COVID, was for that reason, because it didn't align with what I believe in. And I think we're all searching for faith and religion and different churches based on how it aligns with our beliefs. So that's cool, right? There's not one way. And what if you believe something completely different than me, that does not make you wrong and me right. And so for me, I really this year have gone backwards a little bit, and it's not even backwards, it's more of a full circle. I remember that I used to be very lit up by spirituality and the great teachers of spirituality and mysticism and all of that. And I remember feeling a lot of joy when I used to follow that and learn from it. I went through a big time period in my life before I became a mom where I was studying lots of different teachers, and it filled me up. It filled me up with so much joy. And then I think along the way, I got mixed up, not mixed up, it sounds like bad, but like I got into different things with different Bible study groups or church organizations or women, and they started to kind of teach or make me feel like there was one way, one path. And for a while, I went with it, right? And of course, when you're raising kids, I wanted them to believe in something, and I wanted them to believe in God. So we would go to different churches and try them out and do different, vacation Bible schools and retreats and conferences and all sorts of stuff. And that was great. I think giving my kids a foundation of that was so important. But I still didn't believe that there was one way to do it. And I didn't believe that there was one, type of religion to go for or one type of church to attend. And I also have lots of close friends that are Jewish, and I think they do their thing. And I think that's okay. I've never been the person that's like, there's only one way. So that's my point. But I remember the joy that I felt with all of the studies I used to do about spirituality, just being spiritual, not necessarily so Christian, but spiritual. And so this past year, I have kind of had a lot of fun going back to those teachers, new teachers I found. And I've also had a lot of conversations with people that feel like I do, where church wasn't doing it for us anymore. There was something missing to do all of that and go to all these things and be involved. We should be feeling more filled up or happier or more joyful. Something was missing for me. Okay. So when I had this car accident, and I really felt like God was trying to get my attention. In that moment, I had no choice. I thought I was hitting those telephone poles. I closed my eyes. I believe God saved me. I believe it was a split instant where he was like, no. And I had to trust him. I couldn't save myself. And so that has stuck with me for the rest of this year. I keep thinking about how he can literally do anything. It blows my mind how he could save me from hitting those telephone poles as simply as he could pause or lessen a hurricane from demolishing the Tampa Bay area and just creating the most horrific hurricane the state has ever seen. And he can do it. And so I feel as though my commitment to a religion, my commitment to a building is so much less, but my faith is so much stronger because I have a personal relationship with him and he's teaching me all these things. Here's the other thing I've learned. There was a part somewhere along the way where I was taught from people, human beings, not from God, that there's certain things Christians shouldn't do, like maybe yoga or maybe following certain teachers that aren't teaching the Bible. But these people were putting together the pieces of the puzzles for me that made sense for me even more than people that are only teaching scripture. I'll put it to you that way. Do I think that I don't believe in scripture? Absolutely, absolutely not. I do. But it just wasn't filling the tank anymore. It wasn't filling the void in me that I needed this year. And so I started to venture out and have these conversations with people, and they started to tell me they feel the same way. And I started to learn about what other people were seeking and searching for. I learned about people like Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks, and I was amazed. And it just felt like I was finally home. And these teachings make sense to me. But what the lie was is that they're not from God, right? They're not Christian enough. And I just now learned that's not true. I think God is closer to us than we think he is. And I think that he's more accessible than we think he is. And I think that he also is more understanding than we think he is. He loves us that much that he loves us exactly where we are. And so I'm on this different kind of journey, and I wanted to share that because I want you to understand where I am personally when you might see a change of topics on the Make Room Show, of guests that appear on the Make Room Show, because I am diving in to my own journey and I'm trying to figure out the answers, right? I'm curious and it's going to show up here in this new season of the Make Room Show. And, I hope you love it. And if you don't, that's totally cool, right? It's not for everybody, but I'm curious. And I'm also at the same time of going through this, which is kind of like a little bit of a rebirth. But I have more time available to me to think at this point in my life. And I'm also going to be celebrating my own 50th birthday in 2025. And I've given a lot of thought to the type of person I want to be when I'm 50, and also what I want to kind of put into motion before that birthday arrives. I want to feel like my very best self the day I turn 50. And that is what has given me my motivation back. It's helped me to get past the hard times that I had this year. It helps push me into this new season that, quite frankly, I want to stay in the old season. I want to stay in the season where my kids were both in this house and we were a family of four every single day. We're still a family of four. It just looks differently. I have days where I miss my children so much, it makes me nauseous. But I am happy because they're happy and they are thriving, and what the life that they're getting to experience is what I wanted for them at this age. And there's, hope we're blessed where we get to go back and forth a lot. There's only a few years left where we can be together again full time, and I cannot wait for that. Right? We have about 4 years left for that, a little over 4 years. So, but in the meantime, I am going to use this as a time of development, of personal development. So if you're a woman listening and you kind of are like, oh, I'm at that stage of life too, come with me, talk to me, teach me what you're doing. I want to share what I'm doing. I want this next season of the Make Room Show to be about making room, whether it be, it's everything, making room for a healthier lifestyle, making room for what it looks like with your marriage, making room for spirituality, making room for organization in your home so you're not bogged down by clutter, like all the same things I've always taught. But I really want to extend this invitation to you if you are like, yes, I need a little bit of um just a new way to look at things. I need to give myself self-care. I need to look at what I want in the next 10 years of my life. I want to give you the opportunity to come on this journey with me, is what I'm saying, because it's going to be a lot of that. And if you have somebody a book you've read or somebody you've heard speak that you're like, this is going to be perfect for you, Jen, you need to have them on your show. Please email me and tell me who they are and what their book title is and all of that, or send me a DM on Instagram under Jennifer Fordberry and DM me their profile so I can contact them, because I'm on this journey and I want to go on it with you. The other thing that I've been doing is I finally got back into working out on a daily basis. That was a really hard thing for me. I was derailed with the health concerns after the accident. I went through, a grieving process when my youngest left. And I was just like wanting to be the person that got back to the gym and worked out, but I just couldn't do it. I could not get myself to do it. I was still walking my dog. I was still riding my bike when I'm in Florida, but I wasn't really toning and things like that. And, as I'm approaching 50, I'm noticing that I can't get by with the bare minimum anymore. And if you are listening and you're at the same age, you're like, okay, girl, I get you. So I finally started this fall. And you know what I did, and I want to share this with you so that you can feel like you can start today or tomorrow or whenever you feel. I had to start super small. I downloaded this app called Habit Share. I have one of my best friends, Amy. We basically are following each other's habits, and it's so easy, you guys. If you're watching on video right now, I'll show you what this icon is for Habit Share on my phone. It literally looks like this. And my habits that I wanted to work on were nothing crazy, but I wanted to track them daily. And you know that I'm the type of person that I always see evolution and growth when I'm organized. And for me, I had to first sit down and decide, what do I want my new habits to be? So on a daily basis, I'll share what mine are. Exercise, which I decided it doesn't have to be 30 to 45 minutes in the gym. It can be 15 minutes just to get me moving again, to get me back into the habit of working out. I wanted to start small because if you start big with like a 45-minute goal and you can't reach it right away, you're going to feel like a failure and your brain's going to say, forget it, it's not worth it. But if you show up for 15 minutes, your brain's saying, okay, I can trust you to do this. I know that you're going to do it. And that's when the endorphins kick in and you start to see the benefits and you start to feel better. Just doing something about the fact that I wasn't exercising, making a change. I feel a million times better. Has my body changed? No, because it hasn't been enough time. But my mind is like, I'm not the person not doing anything about it. I'm the person that's doing something. And that makes me feel 10 times better. So exercise daily, 3 large cups of water, tongue scraping in the morning, electrolytes, because when my cortisol was shot through the roof from the accident and affected my blood pressure and all that, my doctor told me, I'm seeing a couple of different integrative doctors, and electrolytes had to be increased in order to get me back on track. So that was why that. Eating veggies, gluten-free. So I'm not gluten-free every single day, but it's a goal. So I'm tracking it, daily, which I can see the whole picture at the end of the month. I want to be I want to be gluten-free as many days as possible. So that's on there. Protein, lymphatic drainage. So I'll do lymphatic drainage on my face, or I'll do, um, you know, time on my rebounder, something to get rid of the lymphatic drainage. And then another habit is cutting down alcohol, yoga, and practicing the art of allowing, or the best case scenario, which I'm going to do a whole other show. I talked about this at the focus retreat. I'm going to talk about some of what I shared there of how that has really changed my life. So those are the habits that I'm tracking on a daily basis, and it really has helped. So if you feel like you want to track your habits, let me know, because the more people, the better for the accountability. It has made a huge difference in my life. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I will wrap up the show with sharing that I started this show, which again, like I said before, was the 29-minute mom. I started it in November 2016. It's insane to me. This has been 8 years of doing the show. No wonder I needed to take a mental break. But this new season coming up, I'm finally excited about it. I didn't want to start a new season until I was personally ready. I was mentally ready. I felt like I went through some stuff where I had to heal myself, and I just felt like I could not be a good coach, a good teacher, until I had done the work to get myself where I needed to be. And so that's why you're hearing this episode today, because I'm finally there. And I have some cool stuff in store for this show. And like I said in the beginning, you're the listeners. So I would love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear your ideas and what you would like to see or hear on the Make Room show this year. Um, I will just know there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I'm actually even launching a new business. It has nothing to do with this podcast, but we will talk about it. I'm not going to share it yet, but it will be formally launching in a few weeks. And it's like something I never even saw coming. It's not anything I thought. It's not something I planned, but life has a way of surprising you. And I've been very surprised this year. So please share this episode if you know anybody, any women that are kind of in that transitional stage of life and are ready to kind of get to know themselves better, go deeper, heal, learn, grow, open up, be more bold, have more fun, and just be happier, right? If that's the case, and if those are the things that you want to make room for coming up in the end of 24 into 25, then I would love to have you on this journey with me. And until next time, also wanted to make an important note that I will be doing the show every other week for now. So every other Wednesday, a new show will air. And that's just going to be better for my schedule and my own self-care. So I hope you are free to join me. And if you're excited, I need to hear from you. But until then, I love you so much. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for just listening. And, sometimes when you do podcasts, you're like, oh, should I continue on? It's been 8 years. And then I always get an email or a text message and it says, something I said affected somebody else. And it's like, okay, it's still worth going because like we all go through hills and valleys of trials and tribulations. We all are on a constant evolution path. And so we can do it together. It's just that much more fun. So thank you. I love you. And until next time, keep making room for what matters most to you.